And now we're on the snake male. Out of the 144 different compatibilities, we are on the snake male, and we're going to be pairing up the snake male with all 12 different female signs, starting with the rat. Snake male and rat female. This aspiring and covetous pair will never stop moving upward. Theirs could be a successful and profitable union provided they have the right attitude and agree on their priorities. The sociable and charming rat wife will dote on her ambitious but introverted spouse, even though she craves more togetherness than he is prepared to give. However, both of these shrewd and resourceful parties should take care not to let petty jealousies impede their progress, nor should they keep secrets from each other. So that type of a dynamic. The rat personality sounds pretty outgoing, like they don't have issues mingling with others and being sociable. But at the same sense, they're not too much, my lights just went out. They're not too much to a point where it's like impulsive. They're still well put together, which is like probably the best combo, honestly, because then they're able to be like, you know, really savvy, business savvy and all that kind of stuff. But with the snake male being so introverted, the snake is very, very kept to themselves. They're probably one of the quietest signs. Yeah, they're the quietest sign. Then it's ox after. But, yeah, but I think they have the same yin energy. So it's like the dynamic isn't too opposing. So it could still work. But I think overall, though, it could be difficult because the rat female, oh my gosh, Lulu. Sorry. Just knock this over. The rat female might get either bored or might want more of a communicative partner. And I think the snake male might have difficulty in doing that unless there's other placements that, Lulu, stop. Unless there's other placements that could help with that. Okay, so moving on. Snake male and ox female. So both parties here are cautious and selective, and will find that they made a good decision in choosing each other. Both are down to earth, dignified, and share the same beliefs and driving ambition. He is tenacious and scheming. She is disciplined, orderly, and protective of family and home. They can rely on each other in a crisis. In such a marriage as this one, the snake will learn to confide in the tight-lipped ox, and she will stand by him against all adversaries. They can look forward to a happy life together. So yeah, like I was saying previously, like the snake and the ox are very similar. They're both very quiet, introverted, very yin energy. So they keep to themselves. They're not big party goers. They don't like to be lavish and out there. They're more subtle, you know. So that they share that same type of vibe. It's easier to get along with them because there's not a whole bunch of fuss or loud noises, and they're just kind of easy, simple stuff. Snake male and tiger female. This will be very difficult and upsetting. Neither can understand nor overlook the other's frailties. Both signs are passionate and deeply suspicious. So the snake is automatically very suspicious. They are very, very much cautious and always have this viewpoint that everyone's has an agenda. And the tiger also has this thinking as well, but in a different way. The tiger, it's more coming from a point of insecurity in a way, honestly, because the tiger wants to be the center stage. And so they want, if that suspicion happens, it's more like in a way to where it's like, oh, they're judging me because they don't like my personality type. You know, I'm too loud for them and stuff like that. That's how they would be suspicious, but it's kind of centered around them, not really centered around like, there's just two different ways to look at it. So they cannot really trust each other. The snake is refined, intellectual, and constant. The tiger wife is altruistic, lively, and idealistic. The self-contained snake finds her too unconventional, stimulating, and outspoken. She, on the other hand, is resentful of his secretiveness and aloof behavior and intense ambition. They speak entirely different languages and cannot communicate. Yeah. So the snake male might be turned off by the tiger female's very, loud and like too fiery way, too crazy. And he wants someone who's more quiet, more well kept and put together, more of an intellectual, right? Someone who is very much not too easily, just a different type, I guess. And then she will not like the way that he is because he is not communicative, and she craves that. She needs conversation. She needs communication. And she's going to start feeling suspicious of him because he's not communicative. Are you keeping something from me? And then it just goes back and forth, that type of thing. So snake male and rabbit female. The snake is forceful and dominant, and the well-bred rabbit will be receptive to his way of thinking. Since they share the same exclusive and refined preferences, these two can achieve harmony both mentally and romantically. However, these signs are basically not very obliging. They may neglect each other in their search for self-expression and gratification of their desires. But the rabbit is not as possessive as the snake and will not be too upset if he gets wrapped up in his work and does not pay her much attention. So she doesn't really care. She's not gonna get too upset about it. She's not naturally possessive at all. She will be content so as long as he provides her with a lovely home and pays all the bills. So that's where it pays off. The result is a relatively peaceful combination. And yes, that's a pretty good combination. Naturally, they don't really work well together, but since it works still because the rabbit female is not inclined to take things personally so easily. They have the ability to reflect and kind of really introspect on things and to recognize when something is it really worth taking this personally, and also they enjoy their own alone time as well. So that's another thing too. They share that quality together. And, but yeah, she will be understanding so as long as he provides and does his part. If he does not do his part, then of course that is when things won't work out. But they share the same preferences. They both align mentally and physically. So yeah. Snake male and dragon female. He is loving but possessive and complicated. So I guess the snake male can be more than we think. Well, what we do know is that the snake is possessive, very intense, very, very, what's his is his. And I mean, same goes for the female too. They're very, very much like, this is mine, and I own this thing. And they're always looking at things like everyone has an agenda. So it's like they have this underlying subconscious feeling that there's always something trying to take their stuff away. So they have to constantly protect it. Just like the snake coiled up, the coiled up snake is protecting something, like get away and in their guarded stance. They always feel like they need to protect something. So, and if you think about it, like being the snake, you have the ability to see all ends and like do twists and turns to see all which ways to make sure that what is not, make sure nothing is stolen from you. So, okay, I'm just ranting again. So, we are on the snake male and dragon female. He is loving but possessive and complicated. She is generous, open, and excitable. He is careful and deliberate in his actions. She may have to struggle with him to put across her views. Some friction is bound to develop in the marriage, but secretly the dragon female longs for someone wiser and more dominating than herself. What? Oh, I get it. I get the dynamic here then, and why it's different as well. Okay. The snake will not only provide a stabilizing force for the union, he will also admire the ambition and enthusiasm of his dragon wife. Together, they could surge forward with greater determination. This is a mutually helpful and constructive alliance. Now, the reason why I was kind of caught off guard by that is because when you mix a dragon male and a dragon female, it does not work out that way. The dragon female does not desire the dragon male to be more dominating than her. No, it just turns out to where, no, you're not going to dominate me, and I'm going to dominate you, actually, before you dominate me. But in this case, with the snake male, with the dragon female, because of the type of personality the snake is. Now think of the snake. He's very smooth. He's very like intense, and he has that intense look in his eyes, and he's just like very quiet and reserved, and he is very profound in the way that he speaks. You know, he talks about deep subjects and really gets to the core of the soul, right? And mesmerizing, I like to say. And that could definitely rub a different way because it's a different energy. So when that energy is in like put on the dragon female, that's where it's like a kryptonite. It's like the defenses all of a sudden, okay, I don't feel threatened in any way. I actually kind of like this, even though I don't like being told what to do. And so, yeah. But it did say this. It said some friction is bound to develop in the marriage. It's bound to happen, of course, because when you have a dominating type of, especially when it comes to like very dominating female type of personalities, no matter what sign it is with, there's going to be some struggles there. And, so, anyways, I forgot where I was. Oh yeah. So, but like it said, but secretly, the dragon female longs. She longs for someone wiser and more dominating than herself. But what is the key word? Wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is depth. Wisdom, being wise, means soul stuff. That taps into the soul. That's what wisdom is. It taps your soul. So, okay. I've already like gone on about that for way too long. Snake male and snake female. Both will be on the same wavelength and communicate well, especially when involved with the same project. They won't cling to each other too much, as both are independent thinkers. In their search for power and success, they can be relentless and enduring. Their mutual ambitions usually bind them together. If jealousy does not get in the way, they could accomplish a great deal. So the only thing that could really come in between is jealousy. If there's any kind of jealousy that ensues, whether it be through like work or through like time spent with friends and family or people in their lives, just being very possessive, like they're possessive partners, So I'm just gonna make a assumption here. I can almost guarantee you that strong snake types probably don't like their significant other having uh, being friends with the opposite sex, right? Like they don't approve of it at all. And they're always going to wonder about, okay, who do you work with? Who's at your work? And what's the dynamic there? They're always going to wonder. They're always going to wonder. And then the dynamics between your friends and all that stuff, it's always going to be in the back of their minds because that's just how they are naturally. They're very possessive, territorial, and they always have this automatic subconscious feeling that everyone has an agenda, self-serving. So they see that, they recognize it, and probably also because they are the same way themselves, right? But they recognize that they're not in a way to where they're self-serving to where it impedes on other people and they're, doing it in a malicious way. Just saying that they recognize that can happen. So snake male and horse female each has a different approach to life. He is cautious, tenacious, and strong-willed. His goals are long-term. She is adventurous, mercurial, and impatient. She cares more for the joys of the moment. He is more consistent in his endeavors, and she is more impulsive, quick-witted, and inconsistent. He finds her irresponsible and hard to keep up with, while she dislikes his serious, calm, and deliberate mental deductions. So this will not be a very satisfying union. Yeah. So the horse is very, very, like it says, just they're very out, like they do things on a whim. They're very unpredictable. Sometimes they'll do things that don't make sense. Like they might not keep track of how much they have in their bank account. They'll just decide to go on a trip when they, like, maybe last minute, and nothing's been calculated out or budgeted and stuff. And so the snake is not going to like that because it's going to impede on their security, their feelings of security. That's another thing too with snakes, is feeling secure is one of the most important things to them. They have to feel secured within their finances, within themselves, within their homes. They can be major homebodies. It's very important to them. They don't like chaos constantly happening. They don't like, okay, we're moving and getting up and going here and there. And they want to have a nice home base and they want to know what's going on ahead of time. But the horse is not like that. The horse can drop things and just, oh, I made plans to go here today, so we're going. The snake won't like that. He will not like that. He'll be like, no, you should have told me this a week in advance so I could prepare for this. But the horse is not going to care about that. They're going to be more like that type of thing where it's like, oh, let's go to the mountains today, like just out of nowhere, or, oh, let's go on a road trip tomorrow, that kind of thing. So the snake does not like that. They like to plan ahead. Snake male and sheep female. These two are companionable only to a certain extent. The lusty snake may like to get wrapped around the object of his affections, but won't like it when the sheep clings to him indefinitely. That's interesting. I thought that they would. He will feel trapped. The realistic and efficient snake is basically an achiever. The sheep is sensitive, sentimental, and docile. He will sacrifice a great deal to realize his ambitions. She is self-indulgent and may be easily discouraged when the going gets tough. He is highly intelligent and she is highly emotional. Sounds like a dynamic of the brain and the heart. Have you guys seen that meme? There's a meme out there where it has the brain and the heart having dinner together. And it's like a married couple. And the brain says, the wife is supposed to be the heart. The brain says, you're too emotional. And then the heart says, you're a liar. Or something like that. I think I probably got it wrong, but it was very symbolic. It was very, very much profound. When you read it, it's like, oh God, that makes sense. But that's basically the battle of the heart and mind. Okay. Yes. So he is highly intelligent, ruled by the brain, and she is highly emotional, ruled by the heart. They may find it hard to bridge the gaps in their relationship in times of difficulty. However, it's not impossible. I do not believe in anything being impossible. And by the way, these are just speculations. These are just things that could be a possibility, more common amongst certain dynamics. Doesn't mean it's set in stone, because every single individual is made up of so many different animal signs in their charts that it's too complex. And aspects, just like Western astrology. Like, we are all so unique that there's no way to just base compatibility off of one sign or even 2 or 3 signs. Even then, you could have the most dysfunctional, most opposing synastry charts together and still make it work somehow. It's not often, I'm sure. I'm sure it's probably very rare, but nothing is impossible. So now we're on to snake male and monkey female. These two will not get on well together at all. Their relationship will be a battle of wills and wits, as both are scheming and competitive. The monkey could easily incite the snake to anger, and since he is not forgiving, he will retaliate swiftly. She is opportunistic, insensitive, and competent enough to challenge him. He is equally ambitious, conniving, and set on having his way. A tug of war might occur to determine who is smarter. Each seems to bring out the worst in the other. In this alliance, neither may reap any benefits in the end. So yeah, it sounds like a very competitive relationship. And they're both very intelligent. When you mix those two together, of like a very high intelligence level and super duper competitive, possessive and controlling and stuff like that, and intense, you got a storm. You got a storm. So snake male and rooster female. So these two are brainy, calculating, and very performance-oriented signs who will prefer power and money in the bank to holding hands romantically in rags and poverty. She is the efficient and perfect housekeeper. He is the brains behind each financial deal, and they will share the same dreams of prestige and material security. The snake is philosophical enough to put up with the rooster's rambling and eccentric ways, so he can see past all of that. In the end, he will still rely on his innate wisdom to make a decision no matter what. On the other hand, she is happy that he understands her, and he allows her to let off the steam and run his life to a certain extent. So she can recognize almost that, yes, the type of, personality that she is, right? The rooster notices and is well aware of that, of themselves in that way. So that when they see that there's an understanding there, that's what grabs the heart. Oh, you understand me, even though I can be this way, which I even view as being annoying, but yet, even though I know it's annoying, I can't help it, and I just do it anyways. But regardless of that, you accept me, Yeah, so, okay. I'm just, you know, don't mind me. In the end, oh, I just read that. In this combination, each will be able to expend energy productively. They will have a strong spiritual and mental affinity for each other. Aww. They will have a strong spiritual and mental affinity for each other. Well, it sounds like a pretty deep bond. And you'd never think that either. The snake male and the rooster female having that type of combination. I didn't think so, anyways. That's new to me. Snake male and dog female. The snake is power hungry, cool, and deliberate in his actions. The dog is affectionate, loyal, and fair. They may have mutual admiration for each other, but she will support him only to the extent her principles allow. He expects total commitment and adheres to the belief that the end justifies the means. Ooh. Both have strong convictions. They may clash if she finds him straying from the righteous path. Okay. Okay. That makes sense now. So, even though not all snakes will be the slithering type. Like I said before, the snake has the ability to always know that everyone has an agenda. And the only way that they could know that and have that awareness is if they also had their own. They just choose how they want to use that and how they want to go about. Okay. As long as the end justifies the means. Okay, so he feels he must make hay while the sun shines, and cannot understand why her conscience is so easily offended. She is not materialistic and cannot comprehend his fascination with wealth and power. Their disapproval of some of each other's ways may prevent a close relationship. So yeah, that kind of, I understand that now, because the dog is going to be more so inclined to sticking to morals. Their conscience, they can't just block out, like, for example, I'll just give an example, like maybe the dog can be so much the moral thing is so important to them that they would feel badly for selling someone a product when they don't even believe in the product. Does that make sense? Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe we can go further, like for example, if you're, I had an example in my mind, I just forgot it. But you guys get what I mean. So, but the snake, for example, won't be as affected by it because the snake has the ability to recognize that everyone is in charge of themselves and makes their own decisions in the end. So you can put that out there because you're doing that because you need to sustain or need to acquire the things you need in your life. And you're doing it, because that's what you need right now. But if someone else chooses that they're okay with and down with it, then that's on them because they are choosing on themselves too. I'm just trying to see from the snake's point of view as well, right? So anyway, just the different ways of working, the mind working and stuff. Snake male and boar female. The snake possesses unfailing determination and willpower. The boar is easygoing and community spirited. He feels she will not be able to understand him nor further his career because of her indulgent and compromising attitude towards others. He is mystical, sophisticated, and deep. She is simple, trusting, and naive. He finds her scruples unappealing and has no use for her goodwill unless there is a calculated motive behind it. She is incapable of deciphering his complex and doubting mind. The snake can be aloof and does not care for the boar's sweetness and sincerity, and the boar's feelings will be hurt. Their diametrically opposed personalities cannot provide either with much happiness. So yes, very different, because this dynamic sounds to me that the snake type of personality is very calculated. And maybe the boar is more like a hippie type. I don't know. I'm just trying to use like imagery here to compare the dynamic. So it'd be like a bohemian type of person, the boar female, right? She's indulgent. Oh, I want to go over here, and they want to, like, they'll scroll through TikTok a lot or something. Or maybe they'll just be like the types that are going to be like on social media and be sociable and stuff like that. But they're into like superficial things, right? They're kind, sure. They're very nice people. But it's like she doesn't have that depth. There's no depth there that goes to the depth that he needs. He needs a depth to go to a certain degree. So that's where I get the naiveness from, because it mentions he does not like that naivete that she could display in regards to intellectually understanding some things and logically speaking. Like, they could be understanding and emotions and accepting like different types of people and stuff and adapting. But when there's like a level of intelligence that's not really there to stimulate the mind, and the snake needs their mind stimulated. They need to have a challenge. That is the challenge that they essentially crave. And that's probably why the rooster and the snake get along so well. But yeah, that's interesting. That's what I have for the snake, and I'll see you later.